Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and today we have a really cool Skype gathering where I've actually gotten some ladies together to talk about a topic that you might have heard last week. There was a story about a pastor whose daughter gave him papers to prove that she was a virgin. She'd had her body examined by a doctor to make sure her hymen was still intact. Y'all, somebody has to tell me what a hymen is. I don't know. And I assume it has to do with sex. I assume it's somewhere in the and to talk about it, I just wanted to get the opinion of a couple ladies I know and respect. On my left, I believe she should be on my left, is Miss Noma Langan Moses, who's the founder of Healthy Black Woman. How you doing today, Noma?
I'm doing great, boys. How are you?
I'm doing really well. And on the far left, last but not least, is my beautiful daughter Patrice Johnson, who blogs under the name Naturally Trees. How you doing today, Patrice?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Doing very well, very well. Okay, so Patrice, let me just start with you. When you saw this story about this daughter going out of her way at her wedding to show her father that she was still a virgin, what did you think about that? Do you think that was overkill, or you think that that was an honorable thing, or how'd you feel?
Um, I, I, I think that society's making too much of a big deal about it because if she told her father that she'd had sex, nobody would think that that was a big deal because it's somewhat expected. So I
Mm,
just don't think that it's really that big of a deal.
interesting. Okay, so you don't think it's a big deal that a big deal what, that she's a virgin, or a big deal that she had the papers?
Either or.
Really? Okay, interesting. No more
Because,
like.
I mean,
Oh, good.
different people like to express themselves in different ways. So,
Okay. Okay. Some of us just, we just tell the story. Some of us get documentation. All right. So No Malanga, what did you think when you saw this story?
My viewpoint is actually on the opposite end of the spectrum. I think it's a huge deal. I think that in my lifetime, I've seen sex go from something that was very important and something that we really respected to something that we don't think very much about and don't think it's a big deal. It's like a hug or a high five. Although you don't get pregnant and diseases from high fives, but uh, I do think that it has kind of um, been reduced to something less than what it is. I also think that commitments are made and honored. And I think this young woman made a commitment to her father. I think it's the sweetest thing that her father and her have that relationship where he wanted to protect her virtue and he encouraged her to do that. And she followed through and she did that. I think it's just as great as showing your dad your diploma after you go through 4 years of college. I don't know how old she is. She went through maybe 25 years of resisting something that at this point in time, I think you start resisting it at age 11. So she probably went 10 years resisting something that maybe her peers were telling her was stupid to resist. It was no big deal and so forth. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's sweet. It may seem extreme to some people, but it is an accomplishment in my opinion.
Well, what about those people who would say, they would say, hey, Boyce, when you turned 25, you didn't give virginity papers to your mother. So why should she feel this burden to not feel that it's okay to enjoy sex, or to really prove to her father? I mean, it's one thing because you have a lot of young ladies that might, they give their father the illusion, daddy, I'm daddy's little girl no matter what. And then as soon as daddy walks out, everything changes, right? But it's another step to say, here's paperwork and an examination from a doctor to prove that you have been the only man to own my vagina for my entire life. That seems a little weird to me. I mean, what do you think? I mean, Patrice, you're
Well,
making a funny face.
you say a man owning his daughter's vagina, that sounds like incest.
It sounds
Right.
like incest, but to me, it is a little bit weird. When you claim your daughter's body part, when you say I don't want anybody else to have this, and and if I find out, I'm gonna be upset. That's claiming something. Even if you're not using it, you're still claiming it. You're still saying I control this part of your body, and I think there are a lot of people that might have an issue with that. I mean, what do you think?
Well, first of all, he didn't claim to own her vagina. He actually said that he presented the facts. Apparently, he has 3 kids. He has 2 daughters and a son, and I believe that his son chose not to follow that path. And he said that he respected his son's choice and that he respected his daughter's choice as well. So he didn't have that, bang on the table, this is my vagina and don't nobody touch it. approach to it. That's inaccurate. He actually encouraged his daughters, encouraged all his children, because I believe this man is a pastor. And if you're talking about biblically sound principle, the Bible does encourage people to abstain from sex, assuming they're going to get married, until they get married. The other thing is, he didn't say don't enjoy sex. He says enjoy it in the right context, which is between a man and his wife, and that's what his daughter chose to do. So, I mean, I have seen a lot of people, I mean, falling over laughing, reducing it to a ridiculous level and then laughing at it. But again, just in the same way, I feel like there are a lot of things that I've accomplished in my life that I've had to work really hard at doing, and sometimes not enjoying things that other people are enjoying. But I had the discipline and the focus to just commit to something and see it through. I think she did the same thing. It just happens to be with a thing that people now don't value.
Hmm. So, Patrice, I'm curious. I'm asking you this, father to daughter. Now, I've never ever thought about asking you to give me paperwork that had to do with any part of your life other than your lease. I've seen your lease, but that's it, right? And so, um, do you really think that it was totally her choice? Like, do you feel that there was no pressure on her to? Because it's one thing if she just says, "Look, I'm going to honor you. I'm going to respect you. I'm going to be a virgin. You just have to take my word for it." It's another thing when she shows up with paperwork. So, do you really think that it was her decision to do this, or did she feel some sort of pressure to impress him and to validate it? Like, what if she had just said, "You know what, my word should be good enough, and that's it"? Do you think everything would have been okay, or do you think her father would have had any reaction, or how do you feel about just the fact that she went all that way to prove that she remained a virgin?
I think there had to be some pressure. I think there had to be some pressure. But I mean, as far as me and you go, whether I am or not, you ain't getting no paperwork because it's really none of your business at that point once I become somebody's wife. So, no disrespect, but I mean, I think she probably did feel pressure because she went above and beyond, but at the same time, that's why I said I don't think that it's that serious. I don't think that it's that serious for society to be talking about it over and over again, but I don't think that it's that serious for her to feel like she needs to get paperwork for her dad either. Daddy, I've never had sex. It is what it is. If you don't believe me, then that's an issue that you have with yourself, and let that be the end of it.
No, but do you think that the paperwork was kind of overboard? I mean, do you think that she could have just said, "Hey, I'm pure. I'm wearing white. Look, I'm wearing white. Every bride that wears white is pure. We know that, right? It's been proven time and time again. So
Nowadays,
why
it's
isn't
hard
that
to
enough?"
nowadays it's hard to walk down the aisle and keep a straight face wearing a white dress. But
What did Kim Kardashian wear at her three or
I think
four or
it was
five
She had
all
weddings?
on
white.
white.
She
Yeah,
she
That was
all
for
white.
the men.
wait, say it again. She wore what?
That dress was white.
She
All
wore.
of
Well, we'll see
it had no white.
If Kim Kardashian can wear white, then that means she's as pure as everyone else. Okay, please go ahead, Nomaline.
And the thing is, you guys are inadvertently proving my point. Just to say that you are and wear a white dress, really, I mean, again, it got lost in translation somehow. I think some people don't even know why some people wear white, and then others are encouraged not to wear white. But back to your question, was it extreme for her to present him with a certificate? It was a little overboard. I mean, she didn't have to do it on the wedding day and make a big hoopla about it. She could have just in the same way. When I decided I was getting married, I had a conversation with my dad over the phone. It was just me and him, and a lot of conversations I've had just between me and my dad. And I think that's one of those things where just be between you and me, daddy. You encouraged me to do this, or I wanted to do this because I wanted to honor you and the biblical principles that you've taught me. And here's my certificate. I have kept myself the way that I said I would. Just between the two of them would have been okay, and we wouldn't even be talking about it. But at the same time, again, I do see the other end of it. Um, let's take for instance somebody who finishes high school. Most people finish high school. We can still say that in America, even though sometimes it's barely. But then when you get an associate's degree, we're eliminating a few people. You get a bachelor's degree, you're eliminating yet another set. And as you get your master's, you're becoming more special. And by the time you get a PhD, you probably don't know another person that you grew up with that has a PhD. So you're really, really special. So voice you're special. That's special. That's worth recognizing. That's worth talking about. It's something. And I've heard you talk about the blood, sweat, and tears and how difficult it was. I personally, at this stage in my life, would never undertake that kind of thing because I feel like it takes so much. It's too hard. I can't do it. So again, she's in that position where in this day and age, being a virgin when you get married, that's special. Because again, we've gotten to a stage where people are like, for what? What is this, 1950? So it is special. It's special, and I don't want to take that away from her.
Well, I wouldn't take it away from her. I think that what probably kind of got to me a little bit is maybe the visual of just saying I had my hymen examined, and it makes your brain think about a hymen. Like, okay, what that's probably like I know the standard body parts, but then the hymen, I was like, what is that? Let me Google that. And so it's just kind of like a lot. It's a lot. It's like I wouldn't tell my mother, "Hey, mama, I had my penis exam." Like that's just kind of that's a lot. You know what I mean? Like mama don't want to hear all that. She just give her
Neither
the
does
big.
Patrice by the look on her face.
Yeah, right. Just give her the big picture, and everybody's happy at the wedding, right? So maybe that's the part that I think cause people to just kind of react is not the idea. I mean, her remaining a virgin until marriage. I think people can say, okay, that's very special. I don't know how much I compare it to like getting a PhD. It's a different kind of thing, but it does take some discipline. We know that, right? But the other thing is that I think that her just sort of doing it is one thing, but her sort of providing the paperwork is another, and then saying I had the doctor examine me and certify the paperwork, and here's the body part he examined. I think that's the part that just made it just seem like wow. And I've always felt that, but here's one thing I'll say is that I have always felt that it is a father's job to protect his daughter's virtue because for young women, their reputation, their virtue, how they feel about themselves is so important. So you should protect that, right? You should advise her. You should watch out for the guys that come around her. Even if she likes the guy, if you know he's not right for her, you stand in the middle. I do believe in those forms of that, that word patriarchy, which is kind of used in a ugly context now because some feminists seem to hate that word in any context. But I do believe that there is a role of the father as a protector and another leader of the household alongside the mother, right? But at the same time, I think that protection goes to a certain point. I think when you get to the point where you're sort of containing and occupying body parts, it just seems a little strange. I don't get that. So I'm going to be quiet and let you guys get the last word. Patrice, did you have anything else to say? Okay, so Patrice is done. No Malanga, you done?
I think we all said what we had to say, so nobody's really, judging her, laughing at her for doing this thing. I think it's just the manner in which it was done and the visualization that she provided for everybody with that certificate. So I think we can all agree she did do something that does make her stand out from the crowd. But maybe we wouldn't do it to the extreme way that she did it.
Right, absolutely.
And at the end of the day, she could still be lying.
That's true. She could have got a fake doctor's note. People,
Well, it
people
is
do.
impossible to have
Well, there's
sex
other ways to have sex than just have your hymen broken.
Oh,
you have your
she
hymen
she
broken,
she had to go there. I'm gonna eat a
the
French
hymen
fry.
cannot stay intact and have sexual intercourse. You can't do it. But I mean, you can also break it from riding a
No, but
horse.
people put things in other body parts. I think that's what she's referring
That's
to.
what I'm saying.
But I can't.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, I gotta. This conversation's above my age limit. I'm not old enough to be here, so I'm gonna have to go because that's woo. But you know what? She's got a point though. She does
Yes.
have a point. There are a lot of people who are technically virgins, but when you're looking for all those loopholes, and I use that pun deliberately, the question is, are you still a virgin at that point? Which I think is another debate for another topic. And in fact, I'll let you ladies have that debate one day when a man isn't in the room, because I don't think this is something I should even be talking about. All right, everybody. Well, thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure talking to both of you.
It was a pleasure too.
All right, everybody. On my left is Miss Nomalanga Mushali Moses from HealthyBlackWoman.com. And on her left is Patrice. She blogs under the name Naturally Treese at naturallymoire.com. And me, I'm the guy eating the French fries. And my name is Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. So until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone. Peace.